Athletes, take your mark, get set. It's time for the Addict to Athlete podcast. Everybody out there, Coach Blue Robinson here. I want to thank you all so much for downloading, sharing, subscribing to the podcast. We greatly appreciate you doing so. As always, jump on addicttoathlete.org. You'll find all of our backlog podcasts, information about the team, how to join Team Addict to Athlete, become a certified sober recovery coach like the one we're going to be interviewing today. And hey, it's all there on addicttoathlete.org. Athlete's got a great guest again. I think that actually makes you the most interviewed guest on Addict to Athlete's history. So Coach Kendall Ray, aka the walking testimony somewhere in middle America. I want to catch up with you. Last time I saw you, I was dropping you off at the airport in Salt Lake City in September, and you were getting ready to shove off on the next stage. Brother, welcome back, Coach, to the podcast. Let's jump into this. Catch me up, man, since I left you at the airport. What's been happening?
Oh man, dude, so much has happened. It's crazy. I'll be in Louisiana tomorrow.
Sweet.
So when you dropped me off in the airport and I was starting part 3 of the journey, with my feet in the Pacific Ocean in Imperial Beach, California, San Diego.
Gorgeous.
I was at 5,510 miles when I started that portion. As of today, I am at like,
oh gosh,
7,640 miles exactly, I believe.
No joke.
So
Good grief,
we're
man.
over 2,000 miles in, just since you dropped me off at the airport, man.
It's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing.
This has been one great section of the journey, man. A lot of people told me, dude, you're gonna hate leaving the West Coast. It's so beautiful. And don't get me wrong, like I haven't, you don't see the beauty of the West Coast in these places as much, but there's beauty in everything whenever you just love life. You know what I mean?
For real.
So whether I'm looking at cows or I'm looking off an 800-foot cliff at the Pacific Ocean with the most beautiful windy roads, it's all amazing. But that Southern hospitality coming back across, man.
Dude.
I felt it so heavy, and I've just been so blessed, man.
Dude, that is wild. We got a coach in Texas. His name's Dustin, and he ran from the top of Texas to the bottom. I have a hard time fathoming even the idea of you walking from one side to the other. I mean, yeah, granted, you had to go through Arizona and Nevada. I get that too, but dude, New Mexico, like I'm blown away by how far you've gone. Like you are clipping right along. And you went during one of the coldest segments too, and I think that's just nuts. But brother, I'm blown away. And so Louisiana tomorrow, you'll officially be in Louisiana tomorrow morning.
I will. I did make a big change on the journey. I was pushing to put my feet back in the Atlantic Ocean on April 12th, which is my 6-year drug-free date. Because I put my feet in the Pacific Ocean on April 12th, 2023, which was my 4-year. But it got to the point where mental health mattered so much more than having my feet in a certain place on a date. And you know what? I beat myself up so heavy about it for weeks thinking about doing it.
Yeah.
Then when it came time, there was people like, dude, wherever you are on April 12th, it's still going to be important. I'm like, y'all are so right. Paige, my girlfriend, she was sitting there telling me about these comments. She was like, hey, like, these people are like, it don't matter. We'll celebrate with you wherever you are. And I'm like, man, I love the support that comes from it. So either way, I decided to slow down and start doing more engagements where, if I'm offered to come speak in a place and it's kind of timely without me having to wait in one spot for so long, I've been trying to take advantage of some more opportunities. I almost had a correctional facility opportunity. That one did kind of not work out because I was kind of past the area when it happened. But that led to, and check this out. This one's really, really awesome. You're gonna like this one, Blue. I don't know if you saw a post about it or not. But the prison I changed my life in Florida, it was called Baker Reentry Center. One of the officers there, he saw me before I changed my life in prison, while I was changing my life in prison, like how hard I used to go. And then he's been following this journey. So around the same time that those people reached out, he just happened to hop on one of my live streams and he's like, "What's up, man?" I'm like, "Yo, what's going
No
on?" I was like, "Check it
way.
out. Like, it's not a
Wow.
guarantee, but this correctional facility over here I might be going to." I was like, "But whatever." I was like, "Dude, you need to get me over in where I changed my life at, man." And he was like, "Yeah, I got
Dude.
to talk to some people, you know." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Cool, cool." And honestly, like I expected him to talk to people, but I didn't expect him to hit me back in a couple of days. He's like, "Hey, I've already talked to him, and you might be hearing from them in the next, few weeks, a couple months as you make your way into Florida, because they probably will have you come in here and share your story."
Dude.
And where I changed my life in prison to be able to come back through the gate on the other side, and go spread some hope and positivity. I'm so hopeful for that, man. I really hope that one happens.
Dude, that's wild. That is absolutely wild. I love that. That is absolutely like the definition of what we do on Addict to Athlete, which is erase and replace. It's like coming absolutely full circle, and to give maybe somebody else in there hope. Because if I remember right, brother, you kind of had this idea about wanting to do something like this before you were even incarcerated, but you really felt the measure of it while you were there. And so, who knows? Like, if you could actually get your foot in there to give someone some hope, to be like, you know what, there is going to be a day when I'm done with this and a whole nother chapter of life opens. Um, Dude, you could have somebody doing the same thing. I think it's got to be super, I don't know, just kind of like it's just emotional to a certain degree because of how far you've literally came, man. Like, good grief, I'm blown away. But I was checking into Louisiana statistics, and right now there's a ballpark figure of 130,000 residents that have been confirmed through like treatment outreach or whatnot that are confirmed having addiction issues. And the most popular, I guess, substances out there are marijuana, prescription drugs, heroin, amphetamines, all the main stuff. um I'm curious because this is going to be kind of an emotional little stretch, brother, because there's a lot of poverty here. And I think your message is going to resonate really strong with these folks when they see. I've watched some of the most impressive, I guess, connections you've made. And one of those connections, when you started walking through it and getting assistance and support to the Native American communities down there in the reservations. And I'm like, that had to be a
Amazing.
real special time because the population, we have a Addict to Athlete chapter on the Tohono O'odham reservation in southern Arizona, and they are the most humble, amazing people. That, man, I'm just curious if you could tell me a little bit about your experience, because you're bumping into some extraordinary people along the way. Tell me a little bit about those you've met.
Bro, just like every other person that, because I follow a lot of other people that do journeys like this or have already finished their journeys. And there's been a few that have gone through like the Navajo Nation in those areas and the Four
Yeah.
Corners area. And all of them have gone back to show their appreciation specifically to that area. And you better believe I will be doing the same thing.
Mm.
So a lot of people ask me where my favorite spot of all time on the journey is, and I tell them Nia Bay, the McCall tribe, the most northwestern point. That is
Mm.
a reservation land, and even though it's a different way of living because they were whale hunters and out in the ocean and do all the fish, and this is more of landlocked in area, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, but with reservation, it's a lot of the same exact thing. Alcohol is like the biggest thing in those areas, and so many people are affected. Yes, the drugs are real heavy in those areas, and everything, just like everywhere, all of it's there. But how many people like reached out? I had so many people pull over drunk, just breathing of alcohol to give me a hug. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah.
just it
Man.
was insane, and the amount of memorials that were on the side of
Ooh,
just the
yes.
highways to the reservations. It was so sad, but every single one of those people just absolutely gave so much love to me. And it kind of blows my mind because knowing and actually, like, of course I went to school and learned history, but I didn't pay attention that well. I've learned history out here on the journey, going through places, seeing historic
Beautiful.
landmarks, people telling me about stuff. And to hear the stuff, like being the white man, and I'm not like into like race and all of that,
No, I hear
but
you.
being the
Yeah.
white man and to hear everything that they've gone through because of the white man, and to want to give all the stuff that they have to me being the white man. Not that I'm there to like put them down and all the stuff that they've been through, but
Mm,
nobody deserves to go through the stuff that they went to, and those people deserve to just
I hear
have
you.
a normal life like everybody. And at the end of the day, we did them wrong. And for them to sit there and bless me, it was just, man, I had a dude bring me
Mm.
into his house and do a traditional prayer with me, man. Like he brought cedar and fire and like put it in a pan in front of his fireplace and poured coals on it and like prayed over me with a feather, dude. And like, man, I
Wow.
got goosebumps. It was so intense. And I had a dude say, he's like, I don't really got much. He's like, but I want to give you this bracelet. And it was like a nickel bracelet with just giant chunks of turquoise. And somebody's like, that
Holy
dude just gave
cow.
you a fortune. And I'm like, what do you mean? They were like, turquoise. Like, I don't know about how expensive stones are. So he's like, turquoise is an expensive stone. He's like, and they're giving you real turquoise out here. And I'm like, what? And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, man. I'm like, no way. And I'm like, it just
See,
blows my mind that these guys appreciate me, the white man coming through, even though I am out here for a positive reason. Anybody can really resonate with just wanting some hope and to know that they matter. Um,
absolutely. And that you'd spend the time, right? That you'd spend the time to like get to know them. And I think that's the beautiful thing, brother. You have such a unique window into so many different people, areas, locations, cultures. Like, I think if you hadn't have decided to keep going, down and then back over, there would be so much of the story left untold. And I'm curious, like, this is like the 15th chapter to this book of yours, man. Like, what are you noticing? I know there's similarities, but you're probably also noticing some differences too. I'm curious, man. Like, as you carry this message, I know for a fact you're still bumping into thousands of people who struggle with addiction, who have loved ones. And you saw last night, I made the mistake of posting a little controversial political thing and got roasted. But it's like we're forgetting that this drug war, this issue, this addiction, it's not over. In fact, now it's going to get worse. Um, Catch me up to speed a little bit about some of the folks you're meeting this time. Like, what are some of the stories? What are some of the hardships? What are you noticing that's touching that heart of yours?
Not a day has gone by, especially now that the journey is growing and the messages are coming in a lot more. Not a day that has gone by now, I'd say in the last month, that at least 5 people haven't sent me a message telling me a story about the loss of a loved one, let
Yeah.
alone not every person that pulls over, but at least half, if not more, pull over and just give me a hug and they start to cry.
Yeah.
And the fact that people want to pull over on the side of the road and cry to a stranger that they never met because they lost a loved one, when
Yeah.
a lot of times when somebody loses a loved one, they get angry at the world.
Yeah. It's easy.
A lot of times, there's so many people that even go to using whenever somebody dies. But I've had people say that this journey has helped them stay clean. And I know at the end of the day that there's nothing I can do to actually keep somebody clean, to change anybody's lifestyles or mindset, but by to hope to inspire somebody to want to make a positive change in their own life to do the things that they need to do. Um,
Man.
but I'm going to continue to share that because I don't know what the statistics are for this year. I heard that they were lower than the last couple years with
They
the
have.
overdose rates.
We've dipped down to about 105,000 plus a year, which
It's
is
still
about
way too
it's
much.
still too much. I mean, you're still talking 280 something a day, which is still too much. And unfortunately, brother, with some of the rollbacks and some of the cuts they're making in the name of trying to, clip government waste and fraud, which I don't think people in recovery are waste or fraud, they're going to go higher because resources will no longer be like available. And there's a lot of
Like that.
political unrest with the whole thing, but you're seeing it in real time in communities throughout the entire country. You have such a unique perspective, brother. From the time you started till now, things have changed dramatically, and I'm just blown away and captivated by the mass amounts of people that know what you're doing and are stopping to say it was my brother, it was my mom, it was my cousin, it's my dad. uh, I'm still curious, how are you carrying, because like it or not, you carry those relationships and those names with you. Like, it's got to have gotten bigger now than it was when you started. What's giving you the push? What's giving you the drive to just keep one foot in front of the other, man? Because you have put some miles down, brother. What's keeping you motivated?
Um, Well, there's so much that I said I was going to do, and you know what? I think I might have mentioned this probably in both of the last podcasts that we've done. Um, but being a man of my word, you know what?
Beautiful.
And and the thing is I was always a man of my word to an extent when it came to my homies and all of that stuff, but not when it came to the people that mattered, like my family and stuff, like lying to my family and all of that. But now, like, it's just being a man of my word, but and it's cool that all those people know and get to see it, but to myself, to tell myself that I'm going to walk to all four corners as long as the Lord lets me make it safely, and allows that path to happen. um
Yeah.
then I'm going to do it. As of right now, I'm still physically capable. And it's the amount of people that reach out. It's the amount of people that have lost loved ones. It's the amount of people that say that I give them hope. When I'm
Yeah.
just a random stranger walking down the road, yeah, I have a You Matter sign on the front of my court. Yes, I am pushing mental health and recovery. But at the end of the day, I'm just a random stranger. And these people are like drawn to like talk to me, and people get so excited to talk to me. And it's like, I I still see myself, like, even though my past does not define me, like, I still see myself like, darn, do these people know I'm a 13-time convicted felon that like treated my family like crap and did all this, that, and the other?
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
it doesn't matter because where I am now is what's important, and there's so many people that are clinging on to the hope that they've seen in my life for their loved ones that are still struggling and still with us.
You bring a very good
And
point. Very good point. Because I'm curious about that too, brother. Yeah, you do. You have a history. Most of us do, right? But you didn't allow it to define you. And I think that's one of the most beautiful aspects about you is it doesn't matter, right? Because you matter. It doesn't matter. You matter. And I think that's one of the coolest things that you're
exactly.
doing out there because, yeah, there's no way someone would roll up on you and be like, hey, you freaking criminal, you drug addict. No, they're like, dude, what are you doing? And then when they find out that you've erased and replaced that whole lifestyle, they're like, nay, lean in a little bit deeper and be like, how did you do it? Like, you have to be having quite a few epiphanies about yourself. I mean, when you look back now, well before you started this journey, right? Can you literally see, like figuratively, how far you've really come from that guy who got that jail door, that prison door slammed behind him all those years ago till now? Like, can you see the change and the growth?
100%. Even when I changed my life, I still had some of the prison mentality. And don't get me wrong, like I still have a little bit of institutionalization inside of me.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
bet.
don't get me wrong. But if you go look at the first 2 to 3 months, maybe even longer on the journey, and you just go back and listen to some of my first videos, I don't even talk the same. I still talked like I was a gangster, like, yo, what's up? It's another morning. We out here walking across America. Yeah, I got Leslie, my mannequin, with me. Like, yeah, say what's up. Like, that's how I talked at the beginning of this journey, and that's how I talked for years.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
that alone shows me how far I've grown. But
Beautiful.
to and even at the beginning of the journey, when like haters, like I did try to respond out of love, but I would get real angry with haters
Me
real
too.
bad. And
That
don't
happened
get me
last night.
wrong, I
You saw it.
still let them
Yep.
get to me. I still let them
Absolutely.
get to me, and I will still respond. But I do try my best to respond out of love every single time. And people are like, why do you take the time to respond to haters, this, that, and the other? You got all these lovers and supporters. Because I care enough to take the time to tell these haters, like, hey,
Yep.
like, this is the facts of the journey. Now, if y'all want to keep hating, it is what it is, but this is the facts of the journey. If you don't believe me, like, it's an open invite. Come out and walk with me, because
There
if
you
you
go.
don't do that, then it's not fair to even say this. Like, yeah, I have a
Yes.
past. And people will try to bring that. Like, I had a dude today that was commenting links from some issues that I happened in Coos Bay, Oregon. And it was just a whole bunch of drama. And these people like went back to my like rap sheet and like screenshot it and made a whole deal out of it. The thing is my rap sheet, I might not post the screenshots, but I have so many videos of me telling you all the worst things that I've done. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm
Absolutely.
very, very open about my past because it doesn't define me.
There you go.
You
There
know
you
what I
go.
mean? And
Absolutely.
there's no dirt, like my girlfriend says, like people, they just want to dig up dirt. Like, I'll give them the shovel, is what my girl was like. Here you go, dig up all the dirt. Here's a couple shovels. Get your buddy, dig it up faster, because like I'll just go ahead and tell you what it is. I'll dig the hole for you. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like, I will dig it for you. I'll go get an
Dude,
excavator because we can go deep. Um,
love it.
because I'm not proud of all that bad stuff that I've done. I lived a crazy life. Like, I think back at some of the stuff I've done, or I've had people like, especially when I was still in work release or just releasing back, some of my old people be like, "Yo, bro, remember when we did this? Remember when we did that?" And I'm like, I'm like, people think I'm wild now. Like, I might be kind of wild, but I really was wild with no regard to my life or anybody else's, because I did kick in doors and
Yeah.
go through those doors in people's houses and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
with weapon and all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm scared right now to even talk to somebody the wrong way in public, because
Yeah.
people are just shooting each other left and right for no reason. I just want to live my life to the fullest. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
But that's the thing though, Kendall,
um,
is you haven't allowed the fear to hold you back because you're doing stuff that would scare the pants off most people. Like, to have the sense of freedom versus the security of it all, right? Because like you just walked out there with a wing and a prayer, dude. And that's one of the most amazing things. I love it when we get haters. If we don't have haters, we're doing something wrong. And I had them today. I had people that were really near and dear to me that were like really pushing this narrative that was completely false. And I'm like, man, it hurts to know that there are people out there that you used to call your coworkers, your comrades, your teammates, but for some reason it's their perspective, and that's totally fine. But I made this comment today, and it's been kind of resonating with me for quite a bit. And it was kind of like when we take a little bit of a stop and take a pause, we only understand at the level of our perception. And as I was thinking about that, I'm like, their perception is this way, mine's this way. Let's have a dialogue. But once you cross that threshold of being insulting, I don't need you anymore. And that doesn't fit my narrative anymore. And so,
right.
you only need to understand at the level of your perception. So it's funny that they try to dig this stuff up on you when we have podcasts. I mean, I can repost them if you guys want to hear all the bad stuff
Right.
Coach Kendall Ray's done, So, but that I think it's cool because it's you're out there doing proof in the pudding. You're moving, and I love it. Inviting them, well, come out with me. Come on out. Let's talk. Knowing that they never will because that takes effort. What you're doing is a lot of sacrifice, and I think it's amazing. So my question for you then is, how are you allowing faith to push you through these experiences instead of the fear that kind of kept you stuck? Because, brother, you have a abundant amount of faith, and it's something that a lot of us struggle with.
Oh man, you know what? Like, straight up, it's really something I should say at the beginning of every one of my lives is God's got to have all the glory for this journey. Like, and when I do my daily prayer, I do mention a lot. Like, I know that it's not about me; it's about Him. It's about mental health and recovery. I'm merely just a vessel that He has allowed to come out here and be on this journey. Because I'm not the only one with the mental health or a recovery story. You got a group of people that come to the meetings. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
got people that I meet every single day with some of the same things. And I'm not the only one physically capable to walk.
Yeah.
But I'm one of the few with a desire to walk across the country in whatever weather and all
All
that
these
that
corners.
crazy
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but at the end of the day, it's not about me. But God has allowed me to do this journey, and He has kept me safe. And when I say, like, I know that He's kept me safe in just supernatural ways, man. Like, I think one of the worst storms, I think I might have told you this before, and I love saying this because it was earlier on in the journey, like the first like 5 to 6 months or something like that. I had this gnarly storm, and it was like lightning and thunder and just pouring down,
Mm.
but 200 yards around me in one dome, and it just went with me the whole day. Like, as
Wow.
I was walking up on puddles where it had poured, but it did not rain on me at all that day. Like, I had a rain suit on that day, and I was soaked underneath after taking it off, but no rain really even hit me that day. um
Crazy.
and it was a bad storm. Like, I was so nervous about going out to walk, but it was one of those things. You know, I was telling somebody this story earlier. There was one time that there was this was on the Pacific Coast Highway, and and anybody that ever warns me about 2-lane roads outside of the Pacific Coast Highway, just know I'm gonna be all right. I'll stay alert, cautious, and aware. That is one of the most terrifying roads. But
Mm.
I think there was like four drunk people in a black Mustang, and about I think like 5 to 10 minutes after they went past me, they hit like a 70 or 80-year-old lady and sent her like 80 feet over an embankment. And the weather was too bad for the rescue crews to come out and the helicopter, so they had to send a rappel team. Like I had a ride that was supposed to take me back to the next town for a speaking thing or something, and she got stuck in traffic for like 4 or 5 hours to come pick me up. I had to sit in a Walmart parking lot for hours. Um,
Wow. Dang.
but like, but I'm that dude that's on that road, and you can't, and there's all blind curves. That could have easily been me.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad for the lady, and she was okay that for to my knowledge, but
Mhm.
there's so many different factors. I mean, I'd say especially on a busy highway, at least 500 to 1,000 cars would pass me every day. All it takes is one person to not
Mhm.
look. And I have to trust in God, to
That
get me
faith is
through.
real. Mhm.
If because at the end of the day, like, and I know like heaven's the best. Like you can't. This is gonna be better than earth, but I'm not ready to. Like I know I have a purpose and I want to keep going, and there's more I want to do on here before I pass away.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, it could be any single day. And And the cool thing is like in the last 3 years walking this country, I've got to do more than most people got to do in a lifetime just because I've walked across the country for mental health and recovery. And once again, that's not about me. If anybody else were to go do a journey like this, you would get to experience the good of the world just the same way I do. Um, but God has put angels in my path. He has blessed me. Every encounter has been divine. There has been people that say, I never drive this road, but I was driving this road today and I was having a bad day and I just needed to see that. There's so
Wow.
many. I think it was either right before I left for this Christmas break to go home and spend it with my family or right after. There was a grown man, pulled over on the side of the road in tears, and he was like, "Dude, can I hug you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He was like, "I'm having a mental health crisis. I was going home. I don't know what I was about to do." He was like, "But that sign just saved my life today." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, bring it in, man." You
Grief,
know what
man.
I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
and that's not me. That's God. God times that stuff out. So whenever that type of stuff happens, that's why my faith is I have my faith. Because it's meant to be. I was meant to be on this journey because with all of the crimes that I've done with the 13 felony convictions and the misdemeanors, like at the end of the day I should have done a lot more time than I did. I was blessed with every single sentence that I got because it was meant to lead me right to where I am today to be telling you about it.
Dude.
Um
Man. Yeah, that's it, listeners. That's the faith that we really have to kind of apply in recovery, in mental health, life every day. Because you know this, Kendall. I've told you this a million times. Faith and fear are the exact same things with different outcomes, right? Faith, you have to actually choose. Fear is a natural response. One of the times we were out doing a county to county relay run, we went through a section in Western Utah at night, and it was so hot that the snakes would come out on the ground, and I
yeah.
was following the runners so they could see, and then out of the corner of their eye they'd see the snake, and their body would just react, right? The fear just react. And it got me thinking about how the body does respond to that fear and how you have to choose faith to keep going. So I think that was a beautiful story about, yeah, you've got to put it in someone else's hands. You can't just rely on your own understanding. But I think that's kind of what makes you so unique, brother, is that there's a million and one things you could be doing, right? I mean, you could have gotten back into school, you could have been, pursuing the old American dream, but instead you decided to venture out into who knew what. And I love the fact that you allow yourself to change your perspective, your direction, your headings, your timelines. How flexible have you become? Because, you know, I'll be quite frank and I'll be very transparent. Kendall and I had a little bit of a head bump during Christmas because I was supposed to send him shoes. It didn't get sent out in time, and the poor guy needed shoes. And I love the fact that he's able to say, Coach, that sucked, but like, you know what? I love you, man. Because I felt like a dork. And
It's
that's
all
the man I'm talking about. Like, brother, you have such a unique way because everyone gets frustrated, everyone gets upset, but like you are so quick to be like, hey man, it is what it is. I got this. No worries. Like, how have you grown like just in that manner? Just like because you have to be so freaking flexible. Like you're not a rigid person out there. You got to go with the flow. I'm curious how you have you noticed that because I've seen it in you. Even the way you talk right now, brother. You're slower. You're usually you are so amped up, ready to rock. You're like, let's do this. I love the fact that I probably caught you after a long day's walk because I can feel it in you. Does that make sense? Like,
I was in the
how
rain all day
flexible,
today,
dude?
man. I was
How
in the rain
flexible
all
do you
day.
have to be to do this?
I'll put it like this. Well, there are people that go travel across the country or will get grants for their work to take a 3 to whatever month. There's people that go do like the PCT and stuff
Yeah.
and work will grant them. This is my life. This is my life. The only thing that ever makes me think about timeline is my future with my girlfriend. Um
Beautiful.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And that's where like I don't want to be out here forever,
Mhm.
because I do want us to settle down and have our life, but at the end of the day, I don't want to stop it. Like I love this journey so much. That's why like I want to expand. If y'all don't know, I was originally just supposed to do Jacksonville Beach, Florida to Long Beach, Washington.
Mhm.
When I put my feet, and we did this on the last podcast, when I put my
Yeah.
feet in the Pacific Ocean, I was not satisfied with what I had done. Yeah, I had made it a big accomplishment, but I wasn't satisfied. But I was still doing what I love to do. So I took a break. I took a month off and went back, hung out with my girlfriend for a month and went right back to it. And at that point, I didn't know how far I was going to go. It was I just want to go walk up to the original destination that I had set because I had changed destinations at that point. And I did, and then I was like, you know what? I want to walk up here, and then I ended up like, I want to walk up to the most northwestern point. And then I did, and I'm on my way back down to Long Beach, Washington, and that's where I met these bikers that were biking all 4 corners of the lower 48 states. And I was like,
Wow.
I just want to keep going, I want to do
Yeah.
all 4 corners. I'm gonna walk to the bottom. And like I said, I did put that timeline on myself for April 12th, but I can't control weather. I can't control this, that, and the other. And it got to the point where I was having to average, like, if I was gonna make April 12th to put my feet in the Atlantic Ocean, Jacksonville, Florida, I would had to have averaged like 25 to 30 miles a day
Yeah,
with
man.
no breaks,
See?
no breaks. And it got to the point where I don't want to put that on myself.
Mhm.
So I decided to slow down. So now I'm not on a time crunch. I still want to do 100 miles on each continent. I think in May, me and Paige are actually going to go get our passports. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, buddy, we're gonna go get our passports, and I'm gonna start planning the first trip. Now, if the funds happen to make it in, and I can get the right sponsors and work it out, I might even go do 100 miles on another continent before I finish the 4 corners here in the United States. I want to put it
Yeah.
together. But I really want to do motivational speaking, and whether that is getting a mental health bus and me and Paige travel and I try to set up
Yes.
tour dates and do
Yes.
motivational speaking. And even when I do that, there's days that I can still walk through some states,
Absolutely.
just to do it or be like, hey, who wants to come do a 10K with me? Come walk 6.2 miles. What's up?
See?
Or whatever,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, and if that
Um,
becomes your life, that becomes your life. You allow the flow, to balance that equilibrium of service, and that's what you do. And, you will have people that'll say, "Oh, you're taking these." That's not easy. It's hard. And the coolest part about this
absolutely.
is the relationships that you're building. Deborah says here, and you probably just saw that flash up there. She says, if his journey saves one person, it's been worth every step. And sometimes we say stuff like that, but we really mean it, man. Like, like I said, you have bumped into people that because they met you, I mean, even our relationship, brother, like there are still athletes obviously that follow and track you, and they check in and they're like, where is he? Is he doing okay? Like you've changed a lot of lives, but the most important one is yours. And I love the
Absolutely.
fact that you got close enough to that girlfriend of yours again to be reunited. That had to be a great feeling when you're like a familiar face in a sea of strangers. How great was that
Absolutely.
you got to a spot where it was easier for her to get to?
Oh man, she got to come spend a Valentine's Day with me. Actually, other than the weekend where I did go home for the funeral, for my grandma, she was here every weekend in Texas, and she's gonna be here for my birthday this weekend.
Nice,
So
man.
we're gonna hang out.
Nice.
We're gonna go eat good. And maybe some people will tell me I need to do something better, but I'm gonna be in a casino, and I'm gonna go hit a couple slots.
Are
So.
you kidding, man? Yeah. I mean, remember you get the luck of the walk behind you. So I would test them odds if I were you. But I
Yeah.
love it. But here's the deal too: is yeah, you've had some disappointment, you've had some sadness. Like you said, you just got back from the funeral from your grandma and stuff. Um, how do you cope with that stuff? Because life's still happening outside of your walk, right? I mean, things are happening, stuff's going on, life still moves on. Do you feel like you're missing anything, or do you truly feel like you are in the place you're supposed to be?
Some days I do feel like I'm doing too much. Well, actually, I feel like that all the time.
Yeah,
Sometimes I feel like I need to slow down.
standard
But
issue. Mhm.
but my, but my routine is so heavy, and every day. I mean, every day is a new day for everybody. But my every day is a new day in a whole different way for me. I don't have the other than walk. I'm in a new place almost every day. It's a change of scenery every day, which helps. And what was that original? I'm sorry. What was the actual question you just
No,
asked?
just
Because
like
this
the
is where I
life.
ramble.
No, yeah, no, life still goes on. Life still goes on, and it's one of these things where grandma passed away, and it's like, oh, but you were out there, like, and you get to say goodbye and all, but like, how do you cope with that? Because life still goes on, but and you realize that you're in the right place. Like, this is where you're supposed to be, right?
Right. So with my grandma, so me and her were never like super, super close or anything like that. The last couple years, my mom had went up to South Carolina, brought her home, and been taking care of her and her sister. Um, so either way, we got to have a great Christmas with her. Paige even got to meet her this Christmas because everything like Christmas was awesome. She went downhill January 1st, like, and then with a couple weeks, something bad happened. She fell and hit her head, got like this giant knot, and went unconscious, and then just never came back. Um,
Oh,
and but so me and her did get in a little argument at Christmas or whatever. There was a little thing.
I love it.
So I will say that I acknowledge it and I know that it's part of it, but I've had a little bit of a funk. Like I'm still with my positivity every day, but I've still had a little bit of a funk and I've had a little bit of a issue since she has passed away. Not saying it's exactly her, but that and just all the pressure. So I don't know if you see I just hit 92K followers like
Yep, I
today.
saw it. Congratulations. Yeah, I
And
saw that.
and thank you so much, and it's amazing, and I feel so blessed, and it's not because of me, guys. It's not because of me. It's because this is how many people that we have literally reached for mental health and recovery, or people that get to hear that they matter on a daily basis, or people that get to hear we do recover on a daily basis.
Beautiful.
um but it's getting a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's the messages. It went from like just a few months ago, it was like 20 to like 30 or 40 messages a day, and that was getting difficult. And it was like almost every day. Now it's closer to I'm probably responding like 100 messages a day or like 50 plus at least, man. And and that's the one thing I do is I respond to messages on my Awaga Testimony Facebook page only, pretty much. But I respond to all these messages, and I'm getting tons of them, and that takes it out of me. So I'm realizing that like I'm spending hours every day just responding to messages, instead of taking that time to watch a movie or something for myself. And don't get me wrong, like me and my girlfriend watch movies and I love it. We have little date nights. We've been watching Yellowstone, which has been perfect, going through Texas with the Four
Yeah.
Sixes Ranch and all that stuff.
Nice.
Really cool because I walked by right next to the Four Sixes Ranch. Like they gave me a hat there. You know what I'm saying? It was cool.
No way. That's
Um,
awesome.
but But when it comes down to like just having that downtime for me to sit and watch a movie, I can't because I don't want the messages to build up. That's the thing, and
Yeah.
that's where I get overwhelmed. So I'd rather just sit there and just keep responding to all these messages just coming in constantly.
Dang, dude. See,
Than
that,
do
that's
stuff for
right.
myself. And I do acknowledge that. And don't get me wrong, I'm still doing stuff for myself because I'm out here walking on a daily basis. If I want to go to a restaurant, I do go where I want to go. I DoorDash when I want to DoorDash. And I do have some freedoms that not everybody gets like that. But at the end of the day, I don't have the freedom of being able to get in a car and just drive down to the store and get what I want either. You know what I mean? It
Absolutely.
takes me an extra longer. And I am that person that I know I can post on Facebook at any given time, hey, I need a ride, and with the following I have, somebody's probably going to hit me up within 5 to 10 minutes. It'd be like,
I
boom,
love
boom,
it.
boom, like, what's up? Where are you trying to go? But it's not about that. And it's
See,
you
that's the
know
beautiful thing.
what's man, it's
Keep
the
going.
support, man. It's the
Yes.
support that these people give me, that no matter what I've been through, it's okay. Like my grandma passed away, but I got to have that good Christmas with her. I beat herself up a little bit. There's people that are hitting me up every single day like, hey, my son just passed away 2 days ago, please pray for me.
Oh
and
man.
and that stuff, that's where it takes my mind off of my personal problems. and
Yep.
and you know and I get that a lot. And whenever I get my personal problems, I throw little quick tantrums, and then I get over it as fast as I can.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I've seen it,
I
and
just
I've
every
caught
once in a
some of
while I
those.
take it out on
Yeah.
somebody.
Yeah, I've seen it and I've caught some of those. But that's what I love about you, brother. And
Yes, and I'm
and
sorry.
Rhonda posts here. She says, he does way more than anyone knows, and that's very true, brother. Like, there's so much. Like, I look at my life with Addict to Athlete and all my private clients and all the folks, that I didn't even know we were recording today. I knew it was coming, but Marissa's like, I'm like, am I recording with Kendall? She's like, yes. I'm like, sweet. I
It
got like
happens so
20 other things
fast.
to do, and I'm like, we do this. Service out of our inconvenience. And it sounds kind of silly, but I think you'll appreciate this. It's not convenient to sit down and respond to 100 emails. I don't know how you do that. Like, it's not convenient to get on and to get like personal on all these live videos, because you do a lot, man. I've tuned into some of yours and kind of snuck in and listened about the real stuff you're talking about and the upbeat times. And I can tell there's times when you're like, is this ever going to end? But like, that's not easy to do. And so you're letting a lot of people in to see some nooks and crannies and corners inside that heart of yours. And it's only gotten bigger. So I guess this next question for you then is how are you keeping all this balanced? Because you can only do so much. And this is why I think these kind of podcasts and the messages that you promote are so important. Once Kindle passes through, once we have this connection and we understand his message, we matter, it's up to us, listeners. It's up to us to carry his message, to make it our message, to give it to somebody else so it can become their message. Is that kind of how you see it too, brother? Because I remember asking you this question when I very first met you, is how hard is it for you not just to linger longer and stay because you're building these relationships and you're like, I've got to keep moving. I mean, I still think that would be incredibly difficult for an empath like you to keep doing, but you do it, even though I'm sure there's like, I think there's more to do here, more people to meet. Like, how hard is it to keep going, man? When your heart's there.
Um, Now that I'm so on daily basis, it's a lot less actually going.
Looks like we might be having some technical difficulties there. Oh man, we lost him. He'll jump back in here. But listeners, that's kind of what I'm talking about. That's the hard part, I think, in the middle of all this kind of stuff, is as he's walking and building these relationships, he's really kind of like putting his heart on his sleeve. And I don't know how you do it. Yeah, you're back. No worries. But I was just telling the
Okay.
listeners, like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how your heart remains like, stuck on overdrive, because dude, the people, the stories, everything you hear, like, I'd still love to know, man, how do you cope with everything? How do you compartmentalize all this?
I spend 2 hours, well, almost 2 hours, sometimes not that long. Well, in the mornings, maybe closer to an hour, and every night, like 2 to 3 hours on the phone with my girlfriend. I do call my family. If not every single day, I do talk to like one of my parents at least every couple days. And just get to talk about them and what's going on, and not about me. It's even though it's what I do, sometimes it's nice just to hear other people talk about them, not
Yeah.
related to the
Yeah.
journey to mental health recovery. Um, like I meet so many people, but it does get lonely out here, and not like the fact that like I have to have the touch of a woman, like I get to see my girlfriend and stuff like that. It's the fact that like, boom, hiking trail right over here. Now, I know that I can be like, hey, who wants to go on this hiking trail? And people are gonna be like, yeah, let's go. But it's gonna be like, hey, where did you start? Hey, how many miles are you in? And it's starting to start reconnecting again. So let me know if it goes out. Um, but
Yeah.
it's not. But it's gonna be somebody asking me about the journey or talking about mental health and recovery, which I absolutely love. But I don't really get to veer away from that. So it's lonely on the aspect where I can't just call my homeboy, or my best friend who lives right down the road and be like, hey, bro, let's go hit this hike. Let's go kayaking the day or something like that. It's, hey, babe, you want a video?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but still don't get to go out and,
Yeah.
with people not being and it's one of the hard things, it's one of the hardest parts of the journey. On top of trying to like one person,
Right.
I 88.
Darn it. Man, he must not be paying his internet bill out there. But I get what he's saying too. Like being able to have those familiar voices when you are completely stuck, in a sea again of people that are compassionate and have passion for what he's doing. But like it is good to be able to talk about normal stuff too. I was having a conversation with one of my clients this week, and I said to him, "Hey, you can't just have a recovery in common. You have to make new memories too." And it's a huge part. Yeah, so coach, that's I got most of that, but I think part of like maybe to kind of wrap up here, um, what's on the horizon? You're getting ready to hit Louisiana. How can people follow you? What messages are you kind of like hoping to promote this next stretch? Because you're still a long way from the next journey. Uh, Catch us up, man. What's on the horizon for you? Oh no, we can't hear you. You're getting close. There you go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear us? Darn it. Man, it must be those storms he said he was walking through all day today, huh? We'll try it one more time, and if not, we'll kind of wrap that up. I'm blown away by his dedication, listeners. I really am. Like, he came through Utah to visit us for the very first time in the middle of winter, and he's just had this push ever since. Like, it is
It is
absolutely
absolutely.
phenomenal.
So
Okay,
we
there
have
you go.
rain outside. I have no idea if that's why it's messing with my connection or
It
what. I am
probably
so
is.
sorry.
Hey, you're
I'm so
fine.
sorry. But on the horizon, man, one step at a time. Yeah,
Beautiful.
tomorrow I'll be in Louisiana. I think like we got one day of sunshine the next 10 days, and the rest day it is rain. So I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit. I was hoping to make it to Florida before May. It looks like that's not going to happen. But regardless, I'm still flying to Florida in May. Got something big going on. I don't know if it's going to work out in my favor the way I'm hoping, but this is where I will need everybody who's listening this to tune in. If you ever see a post about it, we need your help. Um, and I know some people might think it's kind of controversial because there is two comedian alcoholics involved, but it's not
Hey,
about that. It's about community. But it's a 5K event with Jelly Roll. And Jelly Roll does talk about recovery. He is about mental health. He does go back into the prison systems and gives back. He's really, really heavy on advocating for that type of stuff. him, Tom Segura, Bert Kreischer, they're all going to be doing the 2 Bear 5K. They're calling it 3 Bear 5K, Tampa, Florida, May 4th. I've already paid for my registration and for the exact time that they'll be doing it, like, because there's different start times.
Good
So they're
deal.
starting at 10 a.m. I got mine at 10 a.m.
I
I'm
love it.
hoping to be able to try to link up with them and talk about it and see if I can't even convince him to come walk with me a couple miles for mental health and recovery to help spread the journey. And I've already told myself if I ever get the time to talk to him one on one, I would ask him just for one opportunity to come do one mental health speech on one of his stages at one of his concerts.
Love it,
Um,
dude. Heck
and
yeah.
I bet if I ever had the opportunity to ask him, there would be a good chance it could happen.
For
And
sure.
what that could do for mental health and recovery, and just take this journey to the next level. One of the things that I did, I don't know if you saw back in the Metro McKinney Denton DFW area, we were able to give 100 care packs away. Like,
Yeah.
I was able to put some money in. A bunch of people donated. We got like a bunch of water bottles. I think every care pack, and there was 100, had like a couple pairs of socks, a rag, a deodorant, a toothbrush, a toothpaste, 2 bags of water, a couple bags of chips, a couple different little snacks and stuff like that. And we were able to disperse them to people to give out to people in need. I'm going to be doing the same thing in Baton Rouge. So that's one of the things I'm hoping to start doing, at least in one big city in each state as I go through. And the bigger the city, the bigger the giveaway that we can do. So hoping to
Yeah,
start doing
brother.
more stuff to give back, because this journey has been blessed. Like, it's not like I have a ton of money in my pocket, and I want people to get that straight. Like, it's not like I have a ton of money in my pocket. Um,
Yeah.
but I am in a place where I can start giving back more. It's I haven't really been in that position, and I'm so thankful.
You're doing
And
it for Team
that's
Addict to
on the
Athlete.
horizon.
You're doing it for Team
That's
Addict to
on
Athlete, man.
the
You've raised
horizon.
almost $9,000 for Team Addict to Athlete, and it's come in clutch for some individuals who have fallen on hard times and who've needed a little extra help. And that's all because of you and the people that you've been able to interact with. And it is so humbling, Kendall, to like see this tally raise up. I mean, the restaurant that was donating to your mission there for Team Addict to Athlete. I mean, it is amazing to see, listeners, what one person can do simply by showing up. And that's what Kendall does. So you guys have got to watch out for him, because he's coming through a community near you. How do they find you, brother? How do we link this so that everyone can see and watch? Like, what's the socials?
Of course, if you're on Facebook, it's there's no crazy thing. It's just a walking testimony. If you're on YouTube or Instagram, plug some underscores, a_walking_testimony. TikTok is at Kendall Ray. My name is spelled a little different. It's KY, well, at KYNDALRAYY. I threw an extra Y on there. That's not actually part of my middle name.
I
But
love it.
or if, guys, to make it a lot easier on all of y'all, if you just want to go to Google and put in a walking testimony, walking across America, all of my socials will pop up. You will also get news stories and everything like that. If you are on any of my socials and you go into my bios and you find all my links, that can link you to a bunch of different stuff. It can link you to other socials. It can link you to donation platforms, even to the donor box, straight to Addict to Athlete, which, by the way, those are tax deductible donations.
Yep.
And I do not receive any of those funds. It goes straight into the organization. For
Thank
anybody
you.
that doesn't know, that they're focused on mental health, recovery, education, recreation. This is what I love about them. Which I think some things might have changed just a little bit because of some of these things, but and normally, and I just shared one last night, but they like to live stream their meetings.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, we
know,
do.
and they're not about like, hey, we don't want anybody to know what we talk about in here. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking trash on any other places that have community groups and stuff. Any place that has accountability, sponsors, all that stuff, it's absolutely amazing because people care enough to be there, and to just show up. You know, people actually care enough to show up, and that's big. But
We're not anonymous.
they're non-anonymous, guys. And they actually get out and about. I've ran 2 5Ks with them, and hopefully I can be there this September if we're
It's
doing it
coming.
again.
Yep. New
So
location this
I
year. New location.
New location.
Yep. New
Right on. New
location.
building. Are you moving buildings?
No, we're still in the same one. We're not going anywhere.
Okay, sweet, sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so good to hear. I'm so glad
Oh
to hear
yeah.
that.
Yeah, but that's
Heck yeah.
that's the thing, and off the air, I'm going to give you a call next week and kind of give you a state of the union because, brother, you're helping us more than you can believe. You guys, Coach Kendall Ray, let's follow him, let's support him. I love what Carol said here. Carol, let me pull this up. She says, Texas will miss you, Kendall. God bless. Stay safe. Definitely continue to follow your journey. So thank you, Carol Miller. Brother, you have a lot of love and a lot of support. Listeners, reach out, follow Kendall, root for him. I think that there's some neat things to be had when we can slow down, have a conversation about addiction and mental health. And Kendall, as you know, brother, to turn your mess of addiction into the message of recovery.
Absolutely. We got to erase and replace, man. Erase
That's it.
and replace. God is good all the time. We can't be hard on ourselves. We got to show ourselves grace and mercy. When we get in the middle of this struggle and it's so easy to beat ourselves up, we got to dust it off our shoulders and be like, I love myself more than to beat myself up over this and to work on myself. Um,
100%.
and it's worth it. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. And I know I've mentioned this before, guys. It's growing pains, just like whenever you're a kid growing up, you the aches in your knees and elbows. It's painful. It hurts to grow. It hurts to grow, but it's
It's necessary.
mandatory and part of the process. It really is. So,
Absolutely.
guys, please go follow Addict to Addict. Even if you can't donate. And, guys, whenever I mention donate, and I will mention it frequently, it's not me trying to beg you for money.
No.
But I do want to let y'all know there is a lot of stuff. And I'm not into politics. But not just Addict to Athlete. A lot of places have had a lot of funding cut. Y'all know I support Addict to Athlete. Y'all go follow them and go see what they're about. Don't take my word for it. Go watch their videos. Go watch their podcast. That's why you can go check out their page, guys. Go see what they're about. But guys, we are really asking people to donate to Addict to Athlete only if you feel led. We don't want to feel like y'all think we're begging. But if you have it, please feel led. If you don't have it, please just go give them a like, follow, and a share.
Share the message.
Because it's not just about me or Blue or Addict to Athlete. It's about mental health and recovery, and we're all impacted, if not directly, indirectly, from so much loss. And for anybody that doesn't know, this banner right here is 1,800 names, the first 10 editions of the Remembrance shirt that I have of beautiful souls that are no longer with us due to mental health and or recovery issues. And we're out here to let these people know that they'll never be forgotten and will always be in our hearts. And it's not just the names on this banner or the other editions of the shirt. Even if you haven't submitted a name, we're still out here walking for your loved one. And that's what this journey is about, guys. To spread hope to the ones that are struggling so they don't have to end up on a name as a shirt like this, but to let these people know that they will always be in our hearts.
They won't be forgotten. Listeners, you've been well fed. I want to thank Coach Kendall for all that he does. Listeners, all these links for the connections to get in touch with Kendall will be made available here on the show notes, websites alike. I just really want to thank everyone for doing their part. If you can't donate, share the message that we do recover, that you do matter, and to turn your mess of addiction into the message of recovery.
Awesome.
Boom.
Sweet.
All right, my brother. Dude, that was freaking phenomenal. I love it.
Thanks, man. Good to catch up with you, man. How